closer.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice? Change his face. Came in, came in at Came in at 4:30.
Today?
Yes, he did. Here's all my food. Yes, but I'll take another one.
I'm allergic to clay.
Thank you.
I did not. I use this great Windex cleaner. It's with the funeral home.
It is 7 o'clock. Oop.
Burrs.
I'm now calling to order a regular meeting of the City Council, Tuesday, June 10th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Ms. Rogency.
Here.
Mr. Dwyer.
Here.
Ms. McGee.
Here.
Mr. Boyke.
Here.
Mr. Noonan.
Here.
Mr. Lafferty.
Here.
Ms. Moore is present. We have a quorum.
Next item.
Next item is adoption of the consent agenda. So moved.
Support Lafferty with discussion.
Discussion, Mr. Lafferty.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, I'd like to remove item 4H.
Wait a minute. Okay, got it. 4H. Okay.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. Ms. Moore?
Yes?
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C. is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is adoption of the agenda. So moved with discussion.
Support Lafferty.
Discussion, Madam Secretary.
Thank you. The first item, what was item 4H on the consent agenda, will now be 13J. We are adding as item 11E a resolution to approve De La Salle request to host its homecoming varsity football game on October 3rd, 2025, which is a minor waiver from the consent agenda judgment. And adding under as 12D, discussion regarding special events ordinance working group.
Madam Secretary, the De La Salle item was what?
11E.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing and hearing none, I will call the question. Ms. Moore?
Yes?
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C. is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is calendar, is 6A, calendar pending matters. Motion to receive and file.
So moved with discussion.
Discussion, Mr. Lafferty.
Thank you. I'd like to remove item requested 520 regarding event held on May 17, 2025.
Thank you. We can also remove the dog ordinance, as we have that as a first reading this evening.
I'm sorry, what was the one for Councilman Lafferty? We moved.
Calendar,
He
the
mo- he mo-
calendar of pending matters,
Okay,
an item off the calendar.
okay.
Any other discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is 7A, approval of the bill of the general revenue fund. So moved.
Support Lafferty.
Discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is 7B, approval of the bills of the water and sewer systems. So moved.
Support Dwyer.
Discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is C, General Fund Revenue Report, April 2025. Motion to receive and file with discussion.
Support Lafferty.
Discussion?
Thank you. This is I guess a question to Mr. Fox. Is it possible to have the name of the department put on these reports as opposed to just a number?
Rick, City Controller. You mean just to have like the general fund number?
Well, it says 1210,
Yeah, so,
which is, and then it has appointed official, assistant attorneys. I assume that's the legal department, right?
yep.
And then 1215.
So just
I
headings.
mean, I can go back and look at all of them, but
No, I mean, but you're just asking for headings for each, yeah. I
is
think
that
we-
possible?
I think we probably.
If it
do
is, that would be helpful.
Okay,
Thank you.
yep.
Any additional discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is approval, is 7D, approval of the bills of the General Fund Expenditure Report, April 2025. Motion to receive and file.
Support Lafferty.
Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is audience participation regarding agenda items only.
Members of the audience who would like to address City Council this evening may do so by filling out an audience form on the right side of the stage. This is a reminder that you need to put your name and address on our forms. You have 3 minutes. This is for agenda items only. There's 3 minutes at the end for general topics. First up is Lori Harris. The computer.
Hi, Lori Harris. I want to talk about,
Ms. Harris, one moment. I don't have my screen here, so I have to just do it on my phone.
I'll tell you when 3 minutes is up.
And I will just give you, I'll give you a 1 minute warning until I get that back.
Okay.
Go ahead and start.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I want to talk about the proposed appointment of Mr. Bomarito to Economic Development Director. And I want to remind the citizens that this gentleman has not a great track record. And if we only talk about the DDA and the fact that he was in charge of allowing the previous mayor to, in 1 month, to have over $450,000 spent on inappropriate advertising for the mayor, that would be enough. That would be enough to say, you can't do this. You can't be here. You're not working for the citizens. We don't have a good plan for how to improve our city. And the mayor can appoint who she wants, but she's waited a long time to appoint him, and I don't think he's worthy of this position. And as long as he's there, we're not going to make any progress, because we're going to see the same old thing over and over again. He can have a lot of things on his resume. He could have attended conferences, but he has connections, but I don't think he has skill. And I am very disappointed that she couldn't see past that and be realistic about what he has accomplished or not accomplished, and made that appointment. I think that the council should definitely, hopefully, not like this appointment. I also want to do I have a minute yet?
You still have 1 minute and 12 seconds.
Okay. I am very concerned also that the city, according to the AAPI thing that's on the 12C maybe, I don't remember which number, 13C, that they had a presentation or celebration sponsored by the city, which means the taxpayers paid for it. Even if the mayor's office supported it, the taxpayers paid for it. And we don't have an ordinance that clearly outlines who pays what and for what part of the facilities. And that needs to happen, and it's very disappointing that we have planned events that are doing this without any ordinance. So that really needs to be taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Mayor Lori Stone. After that is Tom Bomarito.
Good evening, Council. I appreciate the opportunity to address your body today. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to my appointment of Tom Bomarito as Economic Development Director for the City of Warren. I understand from my vantage point as mayor, in the mayor's office, that I have unique insights to the work Tom does every day on behalf of the residents of Warren. Regardless of title or position held, he has served as the Economic Development Director for the last 10 years. He is knowledgeable about economic development tools and working with developers and parties interested in investing in Warren. Tom worked with Fay Baker in securing funds from the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, an important opportunity to secure funding towards affordable housing units near Topher and Van Dyke. He is working on securing an additional 700 apartment units between 3 developers, which will help with the overall affordability for housing in Warren by addressing issues of supply and demand. Tom has utilized effectively the brownfield incentives to help developers recoup their investments while simultaneously growing Warren's tax base. He diligently adheres to expectations from the state of Michigan that how to use tax captures for Downtown Development Authority and the Tax Increment Finance Authority, including meeting expectations of historic preservation in addition to reducing blight and growing tax base. You may not realize that Tom also oversees the Warren's Community Development Department. He works tirelessly to develop plans based on the studies that City Council has funded, including the study for the Tifa Van Dyke Corridor Plan. He's worked with developers on the Continental Building, which is just about ready to break ground near Civic Center South on Van Dyke.
1 minute.
This project will provide a new investment to our Tifa corridor with mixed-use medical urgent care facility on the ground level and residential above. This project would be a great model for other investments along Van Dyke or probably even the town center. Tom regularly participates in economic development conferences and professional development. He works in collaboration regionally with the 8 Mile Boulevard Association to ensure that Warren's interests at that border are ensured, seizing opportunities and addressing challenges. Tom also serves on the SEMCOG Economic Development Task Force, the collective interests for the state of Michigan on economic developments. Having grown up in Warren, he is a passionate and exuberant advocate for our city. Tom helps developers connect with all the possibilities that investing in Warren has to offer.
You're at time.
Thank you.
Next is Tom Bomarito. After Tom is Maggie Huntone.
Good evening. What she said. Anyway, I'm Tom Bomarito. I'm here to discuss the appointment. First, I'd like to thank the Mayor Stone for your confidence you've shown. I understand you've taken quite a while to observe and evaluate my work, and I appreciate the formal vote of confidence. And to the City Council, I look forward to working collaboratively with you over the upcoming months. I recognize there's been some lingering concerns over it stemming from some previous administration, but I view this as a fresh start, an opportunity for us to work together to move Warren forward in a positive way. Over the past several months, I think you've seen some things that we've made some significant progress with the Continental Building, the Nine and Mound projects, graphics moving in and opening their doors at 8 and Hoover, the historic preservation plan, the corridor plan, as the mayor mentioned, Fay Baker's HUP project. These are tangible steps towards building a stronger community. And as you know, we're deeply engaged in several transformative projects, the town center development, programming for various city-owned buildings, continued reimagining of Van Dyke, residential developments expected to bring over 700 housing units to Warren, the major development at 9 and Mound, and strategic coordination for the new land bank. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to help bring these projects to completion. I forwarded you some references from the economic community. They've all enthusiastically offered to give you references if you so desire. And I thank you again for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Next is Maggie Huntone, and after Maggie Huntone is Joel Vanderlinden.
Hi, I'm Maggie Huntone, and I'm speaking tonight about agenda items 12C and 13H. An article was published on the Macomb Daily Facebook page on June 8th about Mayor Stone's inconsistent application of rental fees for events in the City Square neighborhood, and her assertion that her rental policy isn't any of council's business. As entertaining as it is to watch council and Mayor Stone fight over who's the boss, there are serious principles at stake here with serious consequences for all of us, not least of which is the guarantee of equal treatment under the law. This is an excellent time to point out that City Council had no complaints about the Christian National Day of Prayer event that took place within the City Square neighborhood at the flagpoles in front of City Hall on May 1st without any permit or rental agreement, a fact that which was confirmed on multiple occasions by Mayor Stone to Doug Marshall and me. Actions speak louder than words, and I do not need any more proof that Christianity has been endorsed as the officially recognized religion in the city of Warren than to compare council's silence about the National Day of Prayer event with the concerns they expressed about the Asian American and Pacific Islander event and their demands for answers from Mayor Stone. I'm sure those among our Asian American and Pacific Islander neighbors, some of whom may not be Christian, and our Bangladeshi neighbors who are primarily Muslim, and Warren's atheist community, of which I am a member, will suffer this blatant violation of the First Amendment in silence to avoid the intimidation and violence for which Christian nationalists are becoming infamous. I'm disappointed but not surprised by council's inability to see beyond their adherence to Christianity and to recognize that it threatens the religious freedom for us all, while Mayor Stone continues to speak and act as if Warren is her personal playground. In closing, as Ms. Harris did before me, I remind council of some highlights of Mr. Bomarito's tenure as Community and Economic Development Director.
1 minute.
A $30 million price tag for the Town Center V1.0, a $10 million price tag to surrender control of the community center athletic fields to De La Salle High School, and a $400,000 plus price tag for television commercials prominently featuring Mayor Fouts. I also note that Council versus Mayor Stone looks an awful lot like Council versus Mayor Fouts, and the obvious common denominator here is Mr. Bomarito, whom Mayor Stone has reappointed to continue as Community and Economic Developer, an appointment council should reject in the strongest possible terms. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Vanderlinden. Ms. Sanker, you don't have an agenda item listed. Are you for general or are you? 9A, thank you. Mr. Vanderlinden, you're next. Thank you, Mary.
Joel Vanlin, longtime Warren resident. I'm here about item 12C. I'm here because according to the budget, I did not see anything saying that the gay parade is being funded by the mayor's office, or the money was approved. I didn't see anything about the Asian Pacific Party in the budget, but yet it was approved by the mayor and funded by her department, supposedly. It's funny how National Day of Prayer, the Christians are forced to go outside and they privately prayed quietly by the flag without the mayor's permission. And yet we're going to have a parade for a group of people that are the smallest percentage in this city. Do we have anything for the veterans? No. Are we doing anything for Flag Day? Nope. Did we do anything for Memorial Day? Absolutely not. These are days to honor those that gave their lives and support for this nation under God. Now, since there's nothing in the budget for these parties, I suggest, recommend, and demand that the parade party should be canceled. Who's paying for it? Who's paying for the licensing? Who's paying for the insurance? Who's paying for the police? Who's paying for the closing down of the streets? Taxpayers.
1 minute, Mr. Vanderlyn.
Taxpayers without a voice. The mayor does not have the right to trample over the rights of the people, but for the need of the few over the needs and the wants of the many. I'd rather she took this money for this parade and fix some roads, or fix something, or build something besides a gas station. I would be greatly appreciated. Have a blessed day, and God bless America.
Thank you. Ms. Sanker.
This is regarding the Pride Month resolution.
Thank you.
The mayor and the council are eagerly preparing for Pride Month in our city, making sure we celebrate with a festival and a parade, even though it caused negative controversies last year. Our country had a National Day of Prayer, but our city officials did not observe it. Our nation asked for 1 day to give honor to our Creator. They couldn't do that. This was not very inclusive for the Christian community. God has played a role in America's founding, and that should be honored, not ignored. At a time when people are so out of control, like in the city of Los Angeles, we need prayer, not parades. It's sad that this is your priority. It's not the residents, and isn't that who you should be concerned about? You may get a higher rating from whoever you are trying to please, but voters are disappointed in your lack of concern for the Christian community who want to celebrate prayer for the good of our country. Ignoring the National Day of Prayer and promoting Pride Month for the gay community shows your priorities are misguided. This may be your preference, but it isn't the people who you are supposed to serve. Stop promoting your own agenda and serve the people who elected you and the God who created you.
Thank you. Excuse me. Mr. Vanderlyn, you're out of order. Thank you. That is the end of audience.
Next item is 9A, Pride Month Resolution. Madam Chair,
Ms. Moore.
motion to approve.
Support Lafferty.
A resolution of the Warren City Council recognizing June as Pride Month, whereas the city of Warren is a diverse community that is strengthened by the contributions of people of all sexual orientations, gender identities, and gender expressions, and whereas LGBTQ+ individuals have historically faced and continue to face discrimination, injustice, and unequal treatment across many sectors of society, and whereas each June, Pride Month is celebrated across the United States to honor the 1969 Stonewall Uprising in New York City, a pivotal moment in the LGBTQ+ rights movement, and to recognize the ongoing fight for equality, dignity, and visibility for LGBTQ+ people, and whereas Pride Month serves as a time to reflect on the progress made toward achieving equal rights and to acknowledge the work that remains to ensure that all individuals, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity, are treated with respect and fairness, and whereas the City of Warren values the principles of equality, inclusion, and acceptance, and seeks to ensure that all residents and visitors feel safe, supported, and celebrated for who they are. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Warren City Council hereby proclaims the month of June 2025 as Pride Month in the City of Warren and encourages all residents, businesses, and organizations to celebrate the contributions of the LGBTQ+ community to foster inclusive practices and to advance the rights and well-being of all people. Resolution declared adopted this 10th day of June 2025.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution passes. Next item.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Moore.
as most of you know by now, on May 24th, former council member Mark Liss passed away after a long illness. I was fortunate to visit him in his last minutes, actually the very last minutes of his life. He was a good friend to many of us here over the years. He was a former chief assistant attorney in Royal Oak. He had a great love for his ancestral homeland, the Ukraine, and had deep, deep roots in the Ukrainian community here in Warren and all over the area. He came to the city council ready to work day one. He knew his job. He was a fierce advocate for transparency and ethical reform, and he wasn't afraid to fight for what he thought was right, and he always fought for those who needed the help. And he will be greatly missed by me, and I'm sure many people. Our condolences go out to his sisters, Mariana and Olga, and his many friends and family. Thank you. Moment of silence, please.
Thank you. Mr. Vanderlinden, if you could please quit commenting from the audience, that would be very helpful and appreciated. Next item. Anyone else for announcements? Okay, next item.
Next item is 10A, which is a public hearing, consideration and adoption of a resolution to approve the demolition of a house and garage located at 21065 Dover through the nuisance abatement process. Madam Chair, I would make a motion that we table this item for...
So, Madam Chair, we should table, but we should hear from Public Service
Go ahead.
first, and then
Okay.
motion to table.
Okay.
So can I get a
Motion to approve
Thank you.
Well, we have to open the
with
public hearing.
for discussion.
So we have to do, well, we have to have the public hearing.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we'll open the public hearing. If we could hear from Mr. Lezay, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Good evening, council. So this home, a couple years, to about in '23, we had a hearing on this home, and due to the obviously to the dilapidated condition, there's tarps on the roof. The roof is all completely failing. I believe water is entering this home, and we had a hearing, and then we were not sure if it was occupied or not at the time, and the owner did appear and said that they were possibly living in there. Well, because of that, we basically waited to see, and then it's become even worse now, and now it's in total unlivable condition. The tarps are removed. There's obviously water the weather can get inside this property. It's very unsafe. I mean, if there's power in there, this house could be highly unsafe. There's holes in the roof throughout, and the roof is totally dilapidated at this time. So I'm just concerned for, I mean, being a representative of the building division, safety and building, it's something, you know, I seen it, I can't unsee the dilapidated condition.
Thank you, Mr. Lizay. Is the petitioner here? You can come to the microphone, sir.
The gentleman is correct, and the house is in bad condition, and I am living there. But my intention is to rebuild it. And I was at Social Security this morning, and they approved my claim, and they are cutting me a check. So I will be able to purchase materials to repair it. All I'm asking for is a little time to get the ball rolling on this.
Thank you. You can have a seat. Anyone from the audience want to speak on this matter? I can't hear. One can't yell from the audience. If someone has to speak, they can come to the microphone. Can you give your name and address for the record?
My name is Xander Becker. My address is 23887 Methuen Avenue.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I just want to say, give him some time. Realistically, he's living there. It sounds like he's trying to fix things up. If you could just give him some extra time, I think it'd be greatly appreciated. If you're able to give him maybe a time period which things have to start moving by, then I'm sure that he'd be willing to abide. But
Thank
that's
you.
all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I would close the public hearing, turn it over to council for action.
Motion to approve with discussion.
Support anyone?
Support Dwyer.
Thank you. Support Mr. Noonan. Discussion, Mr. Lafferty.
Thank you. So we've heard from Mr. Lizay, the home, and Mr. Conlon, if you could please put the photos up. The home is in excruciating condition. This is probably, of all the abatements that I've ever seen, so the worst condition a home could be in, and this is not recent. And I am concerned for the safety and the welfare of this gentleman, but we're in a very precarious situation because the gentleman does live there. So my recommendation is, as Ms. Moore was attempting to at the beginning of the item, to table this item and refer this to the city attorney's office for a legal opinion and to understand what our options are going forward, being that this is an occupied structure.
Support the tabling.
I will call the question. The motion is to
And
table.
Point of clarification, table for 2 weeks.
2 weeks, thank you. Mr. Lafferty.
Yes to table.
Ms. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer.
Yes to table.
Mr. Boyke.
Yes to table.
Mr. Noonan.
Yes.
Ms. McGee.
Yes to table.
Rogan C is a yes. Motion is, or item is tabled. Next item.
Next item is 10B, which is an administrative hearing, which was tabled on December 10th, 2024. Request to confirm the demolition of a house and shed located at 7551 Prospect through the nuisance abatement program. Motion to remove from the table.
Support to remove from the table.
We'll call the question to remove from the table. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C is a yes. Item is off the table.
Madam
Motion,
Chair? Okay, good.
motion to approve with discussion.
Support with discussion.
Discussion, Mr. Lafferty.
Through the chair to Mr. Lezay.
All right, good evening again. Yesterday I got a permit came in to start repairing on the porch. I received 2 emails today with, this is one gentleman who had been helping Mary, and the email reads, we are still plugging along with Mary Morehart to assist her. She's a contractor, begin a few things like the porch, attempting to resolve the crawl space and HVAC and roof issues. We believe we can get her qualified for a habitat program for a roof. And so I have this group is still assisting Mary to the rehab on this. The new permit came in on the 9th yesterday for the porch repair. And I spoke with that contractor today, and he is going to start work on the porch, and he may also assist with moving forward on some of the other repairs on this property. So I went by there today, it's still clean, the grass is cut, it's being maintained, and so I have a copy of the permit and also a contract agreement which was sent to me today as well. So there is progress being made. It's slow, but at least I have 2 gentlemen now that have been emailing me that have offered assistance on this.
Thank you, Mr. Lezay. Mr. Lafferty.
Mr.
I
Lezay,
believe Mary is here as well, the homeowner.
do you have a recommendation at this time?
Well, now that we have a permit issued now, so we should honor that permit, which are good for 180 days. And they're gonna need that time to get this done, to get this house. I mean, the roof is obviously the next one, is probably the next big one, after you get this porch repair done. So it's a slow roll. It's been since the beginning here. I'm hopefully optimistic that these 2 gentlemen that I spoke with recently will continue to offer help to her. But it's important that I continue in contact with them to keep them moving on the project. But with the permit here and work going to be starting, so I think we should allow time to keep this rolling.
Thank you. I'll yield to Ms. Moore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Lezay, question. Who is our hearing officer?
Oh, Mr. Michael Swafford.
Okay. I don't see his name anywhere. I just see hearing officer, so I was just curious.
He should be on anything that gets sent. Michael is signed by Mike.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I just saw in the resolution it said hearing officer. And he's a contractor, correct?
Yeah, he's a resident and a contractor.
But I mean, he's a subcontractor to the city. He's not
Oh.
employed by the city.
I'm pretty sure that,
I just want to make sure because you can't be the hearing officer.
no,
for
yeah, it's just,
employee.
I believe there was a whole contract, I think he.
Yeah, I thought we
however
did that.
He came up here when he was,
Yeah.
Davis
remember it
signaling
came up.
A-OK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just, because I couldn't quite, I remember I thought we did because there was a problem in the last administration because I think Gus Gannon was the hearing officer. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Anything further, Ms. Moore?
No.
Okay. So there's a motion.
I'll make a motion to table unless we have any other comments from council.
I'll support the tabling.
Okay, I make a motion to table to date certain January 13, 2026.
Support.
Okay. Let's see, Mr. Lafferty.
Yes to table.
Ms. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer.
Yes to table.
Mr. Boyke.
Yes.
Mr. Noonan.
Yes.
Ms. McGee.
Yes to table.
Rogan C is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is 11A, consideration and adoption of a resolution approving amendments to 2022-2023 Housing and Community Development Action Plans, home budgets. So moved.
Support Lafferty.
Discussion. Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is 11B, consideration and adoption of a resolution approving the adoption of 2025-2026 Housing and Community Development Action Plan and the application for 2025-2026 CDBG Home and HOPWA funds. So moved.
Support Dwyer.
Discussion? I have a question, Ms. Tarasenko. Thank you. So there was some discussion, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago about increasing the amount for lawn and snow removal for those that meet the criteria of being elderly and so on and so forth. And it looks like 40 grand is what we had originally appropriated a year ago. Are we able to appropriate more?
Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to. Our allocation this year was less. It was, CDBG was 10% less than last year, and the public service activities are capped. So I maxed out our public service activities, so we can only reallocate within the public service, and I tried to max out as much as I can based on that conversation, but I'm limited. If in the event that it's not spent out in the previous and the prior year, I will remove any excess funds and put that into this year's budget. But the current contract goes through July 1, or June 30th, excuse me.
Yes. I don't know what the solution is, but there are so many people who need, I have 50 people that I have phone numbers for that are looking, addresses, that are looking for assistance with mowing their lawn, weed whipping. And it just is overwhelming because there's so many of them that they're like 95 years old. They can't afford to pay for lawn service, and they certainly can't get out and mow the lawn in 80-degree weather. And I don't know what the solution is, but it's really heartbreaking. So, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I will call the question. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C. is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is 11C, proposed ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the Code of Ordinances, use of the city seal and city logo, first reading, and repeal Section 2-4, advertisements at public expense. Motion to approve with discussion.
Support Lafferty with discussion.
Discussion, Ms. Moore.
Thank you. This is something that Mr. Lafferty brought up, but I do want to mention that the county is actually looking at this issue and about the use of the county logo. They're going to be looking at some branding and rebranding, and one of the problems they see is that people using the logo that aren't for county purposes, and it's confusing. I'm finding that myself in seeing advertisements for certain events. For instance, the Pride Festival is using the Dawn, and it says Warren City Pride. Well, that's confusing to me because is it the city of Warren putting it on, or it's taking place in the city? So that's confusing to me, and I'm sure it would be to anybody else looking at that. I don't have any problem with what's going, what they're doing, but I think it's, to be transparent, we need to look a little closer maybe at that. And I do want to say, I think it's terribly inappropriate that the mayor is proposing to repeal a section of this ordinance that doesn't have anything to do with this, but it is something we put in last term. This council was to make sure that any advertisements that went out said if something was paid for at taxpayer expense. It's just a transparency, and why in the world anybody would want to take that piece of transparency away when we've got it on the books is beyond me. We shouldn't be trying to hide anything, and that's all we're doing. We're going to talk about several things tonight, and it's just to be more transparent to the public. We're all trying the best we can to make sure that residents and the public at large know what we're doing, why we're doing it, who's paying for it, so that everything is fair and free, fair across the board. So I think this is Mr. Lafferty's issue, but those are my comments. I would request that we remove this repealing request, and I will separate that out and make that a separate item if we could to 11C 1, so that we can vote on that separately. So I would make a motion that we amend the agenda to make that 11C1 the second part of that.
Support Noonan.
Thank you.
Do I need a roll call, Mary, for that? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Agenda is amended to add 11C1. Back to 11
And I'm done, I think.
with your,
Yes, my comments.
we're on 11A?
We're on 11C.
11C, thank you. Can't read my handwriting. Mr. Lafferty?
Thank you. Thank you. So this is a good first step, minus the repeal that I'll ask Mr. Schroeder to speak on here. But I do have some concerns relative to the modifications and relative use or font style to the logo. When we have a brand, we have an image, we protect it. That's our image, that's our logo, that's our seal, that's our insignia, that's who we are. And the city seal, the city logo, the dawn, in my opinion, should not be something that's changed. Now, in an advertisement, it may need to be, this large, or it might be this large. That's fine. Scaling, that's an approved use. But I do want to make sure by the next amendment that we have an understanding, and it's expressly noted just how the logo can and cannot be modified. Because we have to have our protections around that. That's what started this in the first place. So the misuse and future use, that's what this is all about. To the repeal, and I know we have the next item, maybe I should just wait for that. So, but other than that, this is a great first step. I thank the administration, thank the city attorney's office for bringing this forward and making good work of this. We've got a little bit more ways to go, and we'll have a good product to vote on. And this, in part with the style guide, will help ensure a collective and agreed upon use of all use of the city's logos and insignias. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C. is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is 11C1, repeal at the request of the mayor, section 2-4, advertisements at public expense. Motion to deny.
Support with discussion.
Discussion, Mr. Lafferty.
Through the chair to Mr. Schroeder, could you please explain section 2.4 and what its intent was?
Sure. First, the council was correct in separating this question. We operate with council rules, and the council rules also dictate we use Robert's rules, and so typically an amendment has to be germane to the original subject, germane being relevant to that subject. So the council was dealing with an issue of this new proposed ordinance related to the city logo and insignia, and then this issue of advertisement at public expense is not germane to that. I guess that would be up to the chair to determine whether it's germane, but it just appears on its face not to be related. That being said, the advertisement at public expense was drafted based on ordinances in other communities to let the public know that if you're watching an advertisement on TV or hearing it on the radio or seeing a billboard, that there is some sort of disclosure that your tax dollars are paying for that advertisement. We turned on the radio a couple years ago and we heard a former elected official, and this elected official had a radio show. And this elected official on the radio show was saying some interesting things, and it turned out the DDA, the Downtown Development Authority, was paying for airtime on the radio. We thought it was a talk show. We thought this official was given a talk show, but it was actually paid for at taxpayer expense. And that was one of the issues that came up. Well, how do we stop this or control it? Well, we may not be able to stop the DDA from doing things under its purview, but certainly the council could pass an ordinance saying that any television, video, radio, or streaming announcement must disclose that your tax dollars are paying for this advertisement. Sometimes these advertisements might be trying to convince you to do a certain thing or believe a certain way, and the idea was transparency. There are some exemptions to this. For example, I know that we're live now on TV Warren, so your government channel, your city government channel is exempt from that because it would be pretty obvious that if you're watching the city government channel that it's funded with your tax dollars. So there are some exceptions that are built into here, but the whole idea also is that if there's any advertisement paid for with tax dollars, that it has to be fair, objective, and accurate. You can't be using tax dollars to try to convince people that they need to believe one way or the other on some partisan political issues. So that was something that was in here as well. Advertisements shall not contain matters of partisan political nature and shall not be intended to further the political interests of a particular elected official. So if the city wants to take out an advertisement, promote a festival, promote moving to Warren, all those different types of things, it can be done, but it just needs to disclose that it was paid for with your tax dollars. That was the intent behind it.
Thank you, Mr. Schroeder. And as I just find it incredulous that someone who ran on transparency would, and I quote, believes the Warren citizens would understand the funding source for civic communications, and in its current form, the requirements would be impractical to implement. There is nothing impractical about transparency in government, not to the least. And so there's absolutely zero reason to repeal this, and we need to see more of this in daily practice. Thank you.
Any additional discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee? Yes. Rogan C is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is 11D, proposed amendments to Chapter 7 of the Code of Ordinances relating to the treatment of animals, first reading. So moved.
Support Dwyer.
Discussion. I have a few items just to take into consideration for the second reading. One, this is a long time coming. We've been working on this for, I think, 5 years, so thank you to everyone who worked to put this together. It's really nice, and Jennifer in the attorney's office did a really comprehensive job of outlining, I think, so many complaints that folks have. Section 763, it talks about animals not being allowed in cars at all, which in the city, which is an interesting thing. I mean, I take my dogs to the gas station and run in and pay, you know, I think maybe it's a bit unreasonable. There's a limit on 2 bird feeders, also I think is a little unreasonable. I don't have any bird feeders.
It brings rats.
Yeah, I know, it brings rodents, and it's very articulated why. I just think it's a bit unreasonable. The same with the community cat feeding policy. It's very strict. I appreciate that, and also seems a little bit unreasonable. And then I appreciate the aligning zoning with chicken coops, because I know that's been an issue. Those are my notes.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Moore.
isn't the limit now 3 chickens? Why are we making it 4?
I don't know who asked for it.
And I still would like to know who is policing the chickens.
This is an easy one. Chickens are sold in tubes.
Yeah.
So what do you do
Pears.
with the extra chicken?
So I've asked for this, I don't know, 5 years maybe. I know that chickens have to be registered with the clerk. right?
So this is the problem with the old ordinance, is that it was very unclear whether it was the clerk or it was zoning or animal control. The new ordinance clears all of this up.
Because, because I've gotten many complaints over chicken coops over the years, and they were supposed to be inspected like every December, or I forget what the date was, but it was once a year they were supposed to be inspected. And I don't think they were being inspected.
The old ordinance was very gray.
Yeah.
And it wasn't sure who it fell on, and everybody was going, well, it's their responsibility, it's our responsibility, so nobody was really sure, so that's why this language was cleaned up in this new ordinance.
Yeah, because some of them are pretty bad looking. I've seen a few over the years, and, people get tired of them, and they make a mess, and, yeah.
Chickens aren't easy to raise.
Oh, no, I grew up with them.
No,
I know. And he would never see me with a chicken at my house, so. Thank you.
Mr. Mazzarelli, I have a quick question. Coops, they can't be movable?
You know what, I'm not sure on that one. I would have to check with zoning on that.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure they have to be permanent.
Okay.
I have a quick question,
Mr.
too.
Noonan.
Director Mazzarelli, can you explain more about dangerous dogs and, like, the parts of this, what?
That is not under my purview. I don't know about that.
Oh, okay. I think it's in the ordinance, but it's
It
not
is.
something that you
It
deal
is,
with.
But I only was.
That's
dealt with
animal
very
control
small
again,
parts. That's
and
animal
that's with the
control.
police department.
Yep.
Okay, thanks. I yield.
Madam Chair. Mr. Mazzarelli, don't go too far. One of the items, one of the unfortunate events, I should say, that kind of brought this to light last term was a vicious dog attack. Killed a smaller dog in the process, threatened the life of a young girl who was walking that animal, their pet. I still talk to that family, and the healing process continues. It's a horrible incident to live through. We had another one happen just last week. We've had several in between that event a couple of years ago and today. The Section 7-91, potentially dangerous dogs, the tie-in on that particular item was to property maintenance, in that the dog escaped from its yard after numerous sightings, or after at least visits by the city previously, to talk through the fencing not being adequate, the gates not being secured properly, and that's how that event occurred. And that we wanted to ensure that this ordinance was commensurate with your ordinance, to ensure that if there was something tying a property maintenance issue to an animal
Animal
issue,
ownership.
okay, that the two records would be synonymous with one another, that you had that record, and that if something did happen, you could go back in the file and say, oh, there were 3 visits by the city on these dates, and they were supposed to do this, and that did not happen, and that's 3 strikes against that individual.
Now that you say it, that does ring a bell. In the last part, I was only consulted on about the chickens, so I do remember that being talked about initially when this first happened, but that was before I held this position, so.
Yeah, I've never been chased by a chicken, but I have been chased by a dog.
I've been chased by both.
All right.
Neither one is fun.
But in all seriousness, I do want to make sure that we are tying those two things together.
I will check with Ms. Pierce tomorrow.
Okay.
But I'm sure that she incorporated that.
Okay, and the other concern relative to the same section was, and I think Ms. Moore and Ms. Rogency can back me up on this, I know that we talked about the immediacy of action by the animal control officer and the court, where the event occurred, and it appeared, there was a police visit, and then there seemed to be misunderstanding what's the next course of action. It went back and forth, calls were made, and finally, the dog was taken, and then there was a hearing, and there was, court date and all of those things took place. But the immediacy, we need to ensure that this is rock solid.
Right.
That if an event like this occurs, there's no question as to who has the authority, the police department, the court, and that it's going to be reactive, but it's going to be fair and decisive, and it's immediate action with respect to the victim in the case.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I believe the ordinance captures that. It's very detailed around what happens with dangerous dogs, and so I think it, not connecting the two that you're referencing, but I do think it outlines that there's pretty clear direction for animal control.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion?
Madam Chair? I just want to say thank you very much. This has been a really, really long time coming. I know Mr. Boyke's been involved, and Jonathan, and Ms. Rogan-C. Everybody's had one incident or another come to our attention. And we also are very mindful of how people feel about their animals. And, you know, we're not trying to make any of this difficult for people, but we have to protect everyone in our community and have very clear rules and regulations concerning all of these issues. But thank you, everyone, for your input and your diligence in pushing forward for this. I know it's been a couple years, I think, but thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C. is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Thank you. Next item is resolution to approve De La Salle request to host its homecoming varsity football game on October 3rd, 2025. This is a minor waiver from the consent agenda. So moved.
Support Lafferty.
Discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C. is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is 12A, proposed amendment to Chapter 25 of the Warren Code of Ordinances relating to personnel and civil service. This is the second reading. So moved with discussion.
Support Lafferty.
Discussion, Ms. Moore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Schroeder, can you explain the latest update?
Just proposing as part of the motion, the following edit. The third sentence should read as follows. Certified eligibility lists created for civil service positions shall be made available upon request to eligible employees on the list and/or their bargaining unit representatives, if applicable, specifically showing the names of eligible employees and their ranking on the list. So it's a slight change from what was passed at the first reading, but it's the same intent and spirit behind the Transparency Act.
Thank you. I don't believe any of this information is secret information. It's something that probably could be FOIA'd if someone sent a FOIA request to the city.
Certainly, I just read, where instead of just saying eligibility lists, we said certified eligibility lists. So we made that change because it's clear that at that point, the list has been certified by the Civil Service Commission. So ultimately, it's just a list that's been approved by a public body. There's no
Public
basis to deny that under FOIA.
Okay.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C. is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is 12B, resolution authorizing litigation strategy and approving proposed settlement. The city is currently involved in a lawsuit entitled Kirk N. Nopick versus City of Warren et al., U.S. District Court, case number 23 CV 13028. On May 21st, 2025, the council held a closed session in accordance with Section 8E of the Open Meetings Act to discuss litigation and settlement strategy in connection with the pending lawsuit. Therefore, it is resolved the City Council authorizes legal counsel to proceed with the strategy recommended by the city's legal counsel and approves of the settlement on terms discussed in closed session. Upon execution of the settlement documents, city council authorizes payment by wire transfer to ASU Group upon receipt of a copy of this resolution, a request for payment from the insurance division, and a copy of the invoice for payment. Motion to approve with discussion.
Support Lafferty.
Discussion, Ms. Moore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Michaels, can this wait till Friday, or do we need to make this non-reconsiderable? It's, okay. Okay, thank you.
I will call the question. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C. is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is 12C, Councilmember Jonathan Lafferty, discussion in Ray, response to 12C, May 20th, 2025, City of Warren sponsorship, funding, and oversight of AA/API celebration held on Saturday, May 17th, 2025, including review of moratorium and fee schedules, defining charges to external parties for events. So moved.
Support Lafferty with discussion.
Discussion, Mr. Lafferty.
Thank you. As noted earlier in the calendar of pending matters, we did receive a response to this item, and although I didn't ask for an essay, I did get answers to a number of items. Most were not surprising based on what we heard at the meeting, and then, but there were some moments in reading that further clarified the need to develop our approach, our policy, and the process around the events, the rentals, and the use of City Hall, the community center, the parks, and our spaces. And the information is in the packet, the responses that we were provided, and what was an area of improvement, and this is answer number 7, indicates that the administration is not required to execute rental agreements for internal events held in city-owned facilities. The explanation cites past practice and precedent, and that's what got us into trouble in the first place. That's why we're talking about this, because of past practice, because of precedent that, oh, well, we never did that in the past, and we shouldn't have to do it now. That is not an excuse. That's not a good answer. No rental agreement, no documentation of building use, no insurance, no documentation of authorized sponsorship or budget. It caused trouble with the previous administration, and it's now causing trouble with the present administration. With this statement admitted into the record, it's now my position that we amend our criteria and require the administration to leverage the same forms and process to document the following items for internal events occurring in city-owned facilities. 1, a space to indicate that this is an internal government event. Number 2, the name of the sponsoring department. Number 3, the event name and description purpose. Number 4, the budget and general ledger account number, if applicable. Number 5, sign off by the controller and the sponsoring department head. Now, this can be structured, I don't want this to be overburdensome. This can be structured so that the majority of the process omits the unnecessary elements required for third parties. They have to fill out a lot of information. That's not required. We don't need this to be a burdensome process, but we need to have a check and balance. We need to have an ability to go back and say, we had 13 events last year, 5 of them were internal, and the remainder were public. They were third parties. And here's who paid for them, here's who sponsored them, this is where the insurance came from, and it's all clearly documented, and it lays it out so that there's no friends and family discounts given to anyone. Mayor is not allowed to waive fees for anything for anyone. And so this will also entirely eliminate issues like this, as department heads will not have to scour through emails and attempt to remember who did what and when due to the absence of authoritative documentation. And this process becomes ever more critical as now it includes all events and not just those initiated by third parties. And I want to underscore the tone of the response was disappointing. So I'm going to say this: the mayor and her staff should not expect to hide behind past practice and should instead be transparent with their use of city facilities and staff and materials paid for by taxpayers. Now, this council asked for answers, not an editorialized, backhanded commentary from the mayor's staff. And the final answer for DDA and Parks and Recreation policies, I'll quote, "The administration appreciates council's continued interest in municipal operations and department programming." I had to read that twice because I couldn't believe I actually read it the first time. Our resolution calling for answers is not interest. It is indeed checks and balance. The very charter that establishes the authority of council not only grants us the authority, it is our sworn oath to ensure the ordinances and policies we codify are followed by the mayor, her staff, this administration, to the letter of the law. There is no gray area whatsoever, and that is entirely what the mission is here today. We have, in addition to that, the moratorium that was passed by this council on the 12th of November 2024, and we clearly indicated that the Civic Center, the DDA controlled atrium, is under a moratorium until the completion of new rental policies and procedures, and that issue is still pending. So I have to question why we're seeing advertisements for its use coming up here in just a matter of a few days. Unless I'm misunderstanding the advertisements, I have a question. Why is the atrium being advertised as being used in an upcoming event? If we have a moratorium, there is no use. Again, who's making the decisions? Where is it documented? And who's taking responsibility? That's what we need to know. With that, I'll yield.
Madam,
Go ahead, Ms. Moore.
Madam Chair, I do have an item that's going to come up that I'm going to introduce in the next item that I think is going to cover some of what you're requesting.
Wonderful.
What is your motion, Mr. Lafferty?
My motion is to receive and file the report as provided from the mayor's office with the following the amendment to the criteria as we previously requested. So to the policies and procedures and the rental forms, for them to be amended in the manner that I prescribed.
Okay. Ms. Moore, you originally made the motion.
Yeah, I'll incorporate what Councilman Lafferty mentioned.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. It's motion to receive and file. Actually, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Next item is 12D, discussion in Ray Special Events Ordinance. Madam Chair, motion to approve with discussion.
Support Lafferty.
Discussion, Ms. Moore.
So it's obvious that we need an ordinance. We need to spell out exactly what the policy is going to be, what the process is going to be. You know, if I have a party at my house, I can invite anybody I want, but in the city, you can't pick and choose who you're going to charge, who you're not going to charge. It's just not right. And Ms. Huntone mentioned about the National Day of Prayer. I understand that because there was a moratorium, that group was not allowed to rent space. I think that they came on their own and gathered, and I don't know, I suppose any of us could go on any city property in a park or whatever and gather, you know, if it's illegal, the police maybe could do something about it, or if it's disruptive or whatever. But it was not advertised. I don't think any of us on council knew that there was going to be an event. And I believe the administration actually said, it conveyed that there was a moratorium. But that being said, there's a moratorium, but here's an advertisement for the schedule at the Atrium Stage for next Saturday. And so that's conflicting, and that's the problem, is we can't have one thing be one thing and then another. So I think I would make a motion to have Mr. Schroeder come up with an initial draft of a procedure. You know, there's other issues. We have, only council has to approve contracts. So all rental contracts really have to come to council. So we have to figure out the process of how that's going to be handled. I'll leave it there, because there's confusing. Yeah, right. And once that is done, I'm proposing, I would like to start a work group. I don't know if Mr. Lafferty wants to join me in this, to work with the ordinance and work with the department heads that'll be affected by this to make sure we get a process that works for everybody and that is fair to everyone. You know, we do one thing in the budget. Last year's budget, we said, you know, Juneteenth wasn't going to be an everyday, every year thing, but the Cultural Commission is supplying music for Juneteenth. So it's just confusing when we set something in the budget, which we set policy through the budget, and then now that is, we're supporting, the Cultural Commission is paying for something for an event, and I'm not sure whose event it is. It doesn't say on anything who, you know, I don't know who is supporting the Juneteenth. I don't know what group is doing it. I don't know what group. I think there's one individual. I'm not sure the city should be giving something for one individual's hosting of something. I don't know. So those are things that we need to discuss in this working group. So that would be my motion, to send it Mr. Schroeder. We'll start a working group.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Boyke.
I'd like to add to that or make a suggestion. I called a couple neighboring cities, and I told them the problem we had here, and they said it's very unusual. They don't run a city like that. And I asked, how do they run it? They have ordinances, and they apply it. So I think it might be wise for us, to pass an ordinance rather than a policy, and put it in an ordinance form and run it that way. And also, they're using it, the city hall, but they're also using the city library. That's open too for them to re-energize and cool down and stuff like that.
Any other
Madam President?
discussion? Mr. Dwyer, Councilmember Dwyer.
Thank you.
I was gonna call you Commissioner.
Yeah, I think we have no other choice than to proceed with an ordinance, because clearly the administration could care less about the moratorium. They're gonna go ahead and do whatever they wanna do, and at this point, there's not a lot, unfortunately, that we can do about it. So moving forward with an ordinance certainly makes the most sense and definitely the best way to go. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Yes, I don't mind having an ordinance, but I would definitely like for myself, or if anyone else would like to volunteer to be on this work group.
2 members.
We can have 2 work members, so I would like to volunteer to be a member also.
Any,
We can have 3. Mr. Schroeder said we can have 3. So if Ms. McGee, Mr. Lafferty, and myself?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I thought working group could only have 2.
You can't.
I'll second Melody on that.
You can't
Okay.
yell from the audience. You're out of order. Any other, and it's super distracting to me when I'm trying to coordinate all of the folks. It's very disrespectful and very difficult for me to keep track of all that's happening when I'm also then trying to focus on what's happening in the audience. So just out of respect for this coordination, please don't yell from the audience. Thank you. Mr. Bell, you're out of order. Any other discussion on this matter? Okay.
There's the ad.
I will call the question. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C is yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is 13A, which was tabled 5/20/25 as well as 5/13/2025. Proposed resolution providing public notice of intent to sell a vacant tax reverted property at 2803 Wellington, Warren, Michigan, parcel ID number 1336382004 for $1, subject to combination with 2809 Wellington, approving sale following a 30-day notice period and accepting grant of easement rights, consideration and adoption of a resolution.
This item sits on the table. Okay, next item.
Next item is 13B, which was tabled June 10th, 2025. Proposed resolution providing public notice of intent to sell 6 tax reverted properties at 23184 Bierman, 7275 Dodge and 7279 Dodge, 6898 Lozier, 6889 Republic, and 6899 Republic, Warren, Michigan, for the total sum of $7,500, authorizing a sale and development agreement following the 30-day notice period and accepting grant of easement rights, consideration and adoption of a resolution.
This item is also on the table. Okay, next item.
Next item is 13C, consideration and adoption of a resolution approving transfer of funds between line items for various documents in the amount of $80,300 and an additional appropriation of funds for contractual obligations, increased costs for legal research materials, and increased vendor costs. So moved.
Support Dwyer.
Discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is 13D, request of the Attorney's Office to increase the award to purchase legal print services and online research services to West Publishing Corporation from an annual amount not to exceed $30,000 to, well, no, never mind. From an annual amount to exceed $30,000 to an annual amount not to exceed $34,000. Consideration and adoption of a resolution. So moved.
Support.
Discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is 13E, request for increase in budgeted revenues and appropriations of the Parks and Recreation Department in the amount of $195,000 to account for the receipt of the federal USDA Forest Services Urban and Community Forestry Grant from the State of Michigan's Department of Natural Resources, USF IRA Grant Program, consideration and adoption of a resolution. So moved.
Support.
Support Noonan. Discussion?
No.
No discussion? All right, I will call the question. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is 13F, proposed resolution authorizing the interlocal government mental agreement for Parks and Recreation Services with the City of Centerline, consideration and adoption of a resolution. So moved.
Support Dwyer.
Discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is 13G, request to approve the reappointment of Gary Keesgen to the Brownfield Development Authority for a term to expire June 30th, 2028. So moved.
Support Lafferty.
Discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is 13H, notice of appointment of Tom Bomarito to the position of Community and Economic Development Director.
Motion to deny.
Support with discussion.
Discussion, Ms. Moore?
Do you want to go first, John?
Sure. Madam Chair?
Yep, go ahead.
Thank you. So, this particular appointment, Mr. Bomarito, I want you to know that I respect you as an individual, as a gentleman, but as a steward of the taxpayers, I am compelled to deny your appointment. I disagree with your vision for the city of Warren, or lack thereof. As I have pointed out before, your attempts to develop a comprehensive strategy have failed to bring about a clear and tangible result for both near and long-term outcomes. And finally, in your capacity as DDA director, you were responsible for the misappropriation of $500,000, nearly $500,000 under your watch. And it is with that that I make my motion to deny. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Ms. Moore?
Madam Chair. I would like to separate out DDA issues and TIFA issues because we're not dealing with those at this point. Mr. Bomarito is, I assume, the DDA director. I don't think he's been appointed yet during this term. I will talk about the DDA for purposes of just indicating what a monumental task that is to be the director of that authority. We are embarking on a huge development, the biggest development the city has ever done, and might be that we ever do, the town center. That is going to require a tremendous amount of work and oversight. We have purchased 2 buildings recently, the old YMCA and the Racquetball Club. That is going to require a lot of oversight and planning for that. We're probably going to be building a new courthouse with DDA funds. That's going to require oversight. I worry that that is just too much to expect someone to also do the economic development. Economic development should be running around the state, talking to people, talking to developers, maybe going out of the state and bringing businesses here. That is a big job itself, and we should be doing that on a much larger scale than we've been doing. There were problems in the last administration, and I know that people did things they often didn't want to do, but the attitude and behavior sometimes of those people that were doing things that they were told to do, that's one thing. Doing what you're told to do, but treating people in a disrespectful manner is another thing. I don't want to go through the whole past with that. And right now, we don't have a budgeted position for economic director. So that has to be figured out, how that's being paid. I truly believe it should be 2 positions. And, what really is the plan? We have had some problems. I think there has been too much of a focus on nonprofit things that we should be focusing on more, bringing in jobs and economic development and businesses here. The DDA, there's some problems with the DDA. We don't have bylaws. There's other things. I really don't want to talk about DDA and TIFA because that's not what we're talking about. It's economic development, and I think it's just too big of a job. And I think that I'd certainly like to work with you. I think we have some things coming up with the land bank, and things like that. but I honestly do, and this has got nothing to do with you, but I just think economic development, we need a bigger presence statewide with that. I do think that you might have a little conflict of interest with the Southeast Chamber of Commerce that you are an advisory board member of. Just because it was stated by the head of that group that half of our members are bidding on local government contracts. And I think that could be a little bit of a conflict, and they're involved in, you know, lobbying and political, you know, they admit that. So I think it's a little non-traditional in the sense of a chamber of commerce that are usually nonprofit and certainly not political. They want to help everybody. I think that's something you're going to have to wrestle with, I think, maybe in your own mind, whether you think that that's a conflict or not. I do. So I am really torn because I think we have a lot of things to do. But I do think we need that person that's out there in addition to what you're doing now. Not that I don't think that you should stop working for the city. I don't mean that. You're going to continue, I assume, as DDA director, and whatever else you can do and have time for, certainly I would appreciate that. But I do think that we need to have a full-time economic, we always had those two positions until, I'm trying to think when that happened, but we always had a separate economic director and a DDA director. So that is where I'm at this point. So, thank you.
Any other discussion?
Yes. My confusion, I'm confused now, because I thought that the DDA and Economic Development was the same position and one person. So I did take the time out to interview Tom, and he provided his accomplishments and all that he has completed. And one of the questions that I ask is, you know, whether or not we will move forward with the downtown development, Van Dyke corridor, how soon we can get that done. And he provided me some information that I did not know of the process and the steps moving forward and how long it takes. He had been in this position for approximately 10 years now, and there has been some things that's been done, and I'm gonna say it, there was some things done with prior mayor, and then there was some political things going on, and I know that had prevented us from moving forward with some items that needed to be completed. If we were to separate it, I don't know how that would financially work for the city of Warren. And if we are to move forward, I would definitely, he had explained his strategies moving forward and how soon we can get those things done. And so there's a conflict for me also to say, knowing that there is separate requirements and separate job descriptions, how can we move forward? So.
Madam Chair.
Ms. Warren.
Just to clarify, like an economic director position, Sterling Heights pays an economic director who's a subcontractor $265,000 a year, right? And out all over the state and bringing things in and that kind of thing. Mr. Bomarito doesn't have time to do that. There is just not enough time because the DDA is, and what you're talking about, the town center and Tifa, the DDA, it also covers Tifa. So Mr. Bomarito, as the DDA director, he is also in charge of Tifa. But that's different than being the economic director. That he is hired and reports directly to the authority of the DDA in that position. Not the mayor, not anybody else, just the DDA board for that job.
So we're voting on Mr. Bomarito's appointment as Director of Economic Development. And what we're suggesting, maybe we're just discussing it, is that it should be two positions that were not, the DDA would essentially appoint him separately to the DDA if that is how things would be structured. I know it's how it has been in the past, and we've funded half and half of his salary out of both of those pots of money. I guess my question is, if we're appointing him to the Director of Economic Development, are we also then, it is also just assumed that he then becomes the DDA Director?
Yeah.
The
Point of-
the DDA appoints their own DDA director. So what, my proposal would be, we did have half and half, but you have to realize, there was not the things going on in the DDA that we are proposing they're gonna happen in the future. We've got buildings in the DDA, all kinds of things, and we'll probably scoop up that area on 9 Mile. Would make sense to put it in the TIF or put the overlay of the DDA there, so that those, because we can do that. We can take and expand the DDA. So I think there's gonna be a lot going on, I think Mr. Bomarito has to continue on doing something, like what he's been, until there is a person to do that. But we've actually not had a budgeted position for several years now. And the plan was, we thought when a new mayor came in, that they would have an economic director, and that's why we were kind of moving that into the DDA. But Mr. Bomarito has been appointed at some point, not for a long time. I don't know when you were appointed, but 10 years ago, or? 10 years ago. For DDA? Right. So they appoint him, and I don't know how that goes with terms, because they're a separate authority. Mr. Schroeder can probably, I think it's different than like the city attorney last time, right?
I do have additional clarification, and maybe Mr. Lafferty, since he knows the budget, you also know the budget as well. How did we fund this year those positions? We just
didn't.
funded
Zeroed out.
both positions?
No.
Just,
Community and Economic Director. First, there was no even position in the budget we were given. Then it was amended to actually add that back in. And then the DDA funds the director.
But there were 0 funds allocated to the Economic Development Director in that budget.
So that's not a
got it.
budgeted.
So July 1, there is no funds for,
There remain no funds
There
for,
hasn't been.
for that position.
got it, okay.
But DDA,
Yes.
I mean, it's up to the DDA to decide what they feel that Mr. Bomarito is paid, but he's probably not paid enough through as DDA director. That's just my opinion, but that's up to the DDA to decide that, not me. But I think he's underpaid for that job.
Madam President?
Mr. Noonan?
So, on a copy of Mr. Bomarito's resume, under Economic Development Director on his resume, it has, serves as Director for the Downtown Development Authority, DDA, and Tax Increment Finance Authority, TIFA, overseeing infrastructure improvements, business incentives, and leading downtown revitalization and commercial development initiatives. Another bullet, oversee community development block grants, CDBG program administration. Bullet, administer the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, BRA. Bullet, serve on the SEMCOG Economic Development Task Force to advance regional economic strategies. Bullet, represent the city of Warren on the 8 Mile Boulevard Association 8 MBA board. Lead the town center steering committee. Facilitate the city's vacant lot program. Actively participate on the steering committees for 2 new fire stations and served on the planning committee for the city's new public library. Well, just a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm near and dear to the Van Dyke Corridor Plan, and I would have liked to have seen him, there's several times over the last 6 months or a year where I would have liked to have seen him show up to tell us more about that and to get us to approve it. And I'm understanding that we're still waiting for him to come back to us on several parts of that. So I'm concerned about his connecting, with the amount of stuff he's doing, connecting well with us. Maybe if he was more focused in specific areas, he would connect better with us and we'd be getting on with these plans quicker and better. But at any rate, I just thought I'd point out for the public's awareness how many different activities Mr. Bomarito is active in. And basically, I think that's in support of Mindy's comments that Economic Development Director and DDA should probably be separate people. Thank you.
Madam President.
Ms. McGee?
So my concern is this. We are hearing from our residents that they had concerns regarding his position within DDA. Both positions are combined into one. Economic development are combined into one, and they may need to be separate, but as of now, what we're voting on is that both of them are combined. Am I correct?
No.
It's just economic development. So the concerns of our residents is more so with the DDA. It's not really about this particular, what we're voting on right now. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes.
Okay, that's my
This
question.
is not about the DDA.
Okay, thank you, that's all I have.
Any other discussion?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Moore?
I'm not sure that people separate out that they know what one position is this and that. The fact of the matter, this position has not been funded for, and whether we approve or not approve Mr. Bomarito today, we've not paid any money and there's been nothing. And if he's the DDA director and he continues to do economic development work, I suppose he can. But he's not appointed, that's all. We just disapprove the point, not putting him into that, a funded position.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Lafferty?
to Ms. Moore's point, and just to point out, maybe it's stating the obvious, if the mayor were to bring somebody else for appointment to the Community and Economic Development Director position, there would have to be an appropriation that would also follow that, so that person could be paid. Because at present, again, we've zeroed out that position. So just wanted to put that on the record as well.
It's very confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Any other discussion?
Madam Chair, just to clarify, the mayor, what's about the reappointment process?
Mr. Schroeder?
If for any reason the council disapproves of an appointment, the mayor can reappoint the same individual that was disapproved one more time in the same calendar year in which the disapproval occurred. And then this process would repeat itself, either for a receive and file or another disapproval. If there's another disapproval, then that person is disqualified for that position, that particular position, for the rest of the calendar year. This is according to the city charter, section 7.6A, amended by the voters in 1977. Long time ago.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Still confused.
There's still quite a bit of confusion on this end of the table, but you can make that motion.
I want a motion to table it. It just,
So there's a motion to table. Is there any support to table? Okay, hearing none. Tabling motion dies. There's still a motion to deny by Mr. Lafferty and support.
Madam Chair,
Mhm.
perhaps, Ms. McGee, are there further questions that you have?
yeah, because
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry if you can't hear me. It's just I have a concern that if we deny it, we're denying both. We're denying the economic communications. I understand that. But where does the DDA fits in the future? That's my concern.
Madam Chair, through the chair to Mr. Schroeder, could you please define how the DDA acts in their authority in the appointment of a director?
The Downtown Development Authority, the DDA, appoints its director.
Right.
just the same way the Planning Commission appoints its director, the Library
Right.
Commission. This decision here would not affect any DDA appointment. The council doesn't have the authority to install or remove anybody from the position of DDA director. That would have to be the authority itself. This decision is limited to the position of Community and Economic Development Director.
Understood.
Okay.
So, and to further clarify, Mr. Schroeder, it's a city department head, similar to the Director of Public Works or the Controller's Office. They are a department head.
It's an administrative appointment under the charter. I can't recall off the top of my head if it's a department. The economic development is a department, but it's definitely a administrative appointment that is subject to the mayor's appointment and the council's consideration of that appointment, as it is doing tonight under this item.
So my question to you, Councilman Lafferty, is your denial is based on you don't think he can do the position of the Economic Development Director?
Madam Chair, through the chair. Ms. McGee, in the previous term and in this term, Mr. Bomarito, and Mr. Bomarito and I go back a number of years, all right, to the days when I was on the Macomb County Board of Commissioners. And he did a terrific job back then. In looking at where the city is positioned and what he has brought to the table for economic development, for the development of Van Dyke, and I'll limit it to that, I have not seen his best work. We've had our disagreements. We've had days where we have agreed with each other, and I've moved on those things. I've voted in approval of them. But as it stands right now, the city of Warren needs economic leadership, and it needs not one, but a team of economic development. And as Ms. Moore said, this is not a sit and wait for business to come to you position. This is someone and a team behind them that is going to go out and market our city. We just lost Mopar a couple of weeks ago. We have a beautiful development, North Point Development, redeveloping 9 Mile and Mound. Less than a mile away, Mopar decided to build somewhere else. And I attribute that to our lack of involvement, our lack of initiative, our lack of economic steam coming from City Hall, saying, we deserve this business. We've got the municipality and the tax incentives and a council that is willing to incentivize businesses to come here. But we need a spokesperson. And I'm sorry, that person is not Mr. Bomarito. I'm certain that there is highly qualified talent for economic development. We are just not seeing it in this one individual. Perhaps, Mr. Bomarito, you will do a fine job focused on DDA. If the DDA decides to retain his services and reappoint him, that's up to them. That's not up to us. It's not up to me. I don't have any influence there. But I do have influence here, and I can tell you that the city of Warren is not cutting it when it comes to economic development.
Madam Chair?
Ms. Moore.
I do want to point out too, it's just not Mr. Bomarito's job to bring in. It's the administration's job too, to be a spokesperson and be out, shaking the bushes and trying to find. I mean, if you look back, Mayor Steenberg was a great economic director. He went out, I think every day of the week, he was out meeting with developers and business people. That's what he focused on. That's how we were able to do so much redevelopment and because he got things done. So it's not just Mr. Bomarito or whatever director. The whole administration has to be involved in economic development because we have to bring businesses here and we have to retain home ownership, we have to bring people to live here and to work here and to run their businesses. So it's all of us. I mean, we try to do our share. I meet with developers and business people all the time. Mr. Lafferty, when somebody left town a couple weeks ago, we had an exit interview because we wanted to find out why they left, and maybe there was something we could do to make it easier for people to maintain their businesses here. From a legislative standpoint, whatever we could do. So it's everybody, it's not just one person. I just think we need to have one full-time, dedicated, just economic development. Now, there's portions of Tifa. Now, downtown is to improve the downtown. Tifa has a portion of economic development. That is its mandate, is economic development in the Tifa. So there is still some of that, but that's a lot of work. That's a lot of area to take care of, so that's it.
I didn't want to interrupt Ms. Moore, but Mr. Vanderlinden, this is your last warning. If you yell from the audience again, you will be asked to leave, and if you don't leave, the police will escort you out. Okay. Any other discussion on Mr. Bomarito's appointment?
Ms. McGee, did that answer your question?
It did answer my question. Yes, thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, I will call the question. The motion is to deny. Mr. Lafferty?
Yes to deny.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes to deny.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes to deny.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes to deny.
Ms. McGee?
No to deny.
Rogan C is a yes. Motion carries. Appointment is denied.
Next item is 13I, request to approve an increase of funds for sewer sludge incinerator repairs at the wastewater treatment plant in the total amount of $450,000, consideration and adoption of a resolution. So moved.
Support Lafferty.
Discussion. Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
13J, consideration and adoption of a resolution to approve contract modification number 1 and final, and payment number 5 and final to city contract WP 23787 Ira Mash and Zuniga Company, Cement Company by $47,807.52, resulting in a final contract amount of $2,609,151.02, and to approve payment number 5 and final to Zuniga Cement Company in the amount of $1,196,938.43.
Motion to approve with discussion.
Support.
Discussion, Mr. Lafferty.
Thank you. Through the chair to Ms. Gapshis. Ms. Gapshis and I had some correspondence through email and then a phone call, and this is in response to some citizen concerns relative to the quality and construction of Bunnert Road and maybe some future projects with Zuniga. Ms. Gapshis, thank you for staying this evening to give an update. Given what we went through with the spalling issue, and could you kind of characterize and summarize what we spoke about today?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Gapshis.
So, I spoke to you about how Bunnert, how we sent a profiling machine down the road, and then we had, we put in our tolerances. It's electronic data, and it goes into the diamond grinder, and then it grinds the road to our tolerances. So that was all done and all paid for by the contractor. And the road passed our standards. It passed the test.
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you for a moment.
Yes.
Could you please explain why that was done?
There was complaints that it was bumpy, the road. And the contractor agreed, and it was above our tolerances in our specs. So then I had, it's a piece of equipment that's attached to a truck, and it rides down the road, and it electronically profiles the surface of the road. And we take that information, the electronic information, and then we put in our specs, and then the diamond grinder will grind the road to our specs. And that's what happened. And then we we ran the profiler one more time, and it was in our tolerance, within our tolerance.
All right. And then you spoke about there were a couple different types of installation methods, the one that was used on Bunnard versus the one on Glody?
Correct. On Glody was a slip form paver, and on Bunnard it was hand pour. And after this situation happened, we changed our specs that all major roads have to be done with a slip form paver. And Zuniga has purchased a slip form paver.
So what is the difference between the two?
The slip form paver is a large piece of equipment that just, it paves the road all at once, where hand pour is the trucks pour in the concrete and they screed it themselves.
All right. Based on all the specs and the conversation we had today and the information that you've shared with me before, I'm really glad you're the engineer.
Thank you.
So back to the warranty from a couple of weeks ago, we spoke about
Yes.
warranty. Warranty for Bunnard Road, what does that look like right now?
That's still another year out, I believe. That was done 2 years ago.
Okay.
So there's still time for that warranty, for us to do warranty checks.
Okay, and with the diamond grinding having taken place already, you've got an opportunity. Do you already have a plan to go out and re-inspect to ensure the
Well, of
structural
course.
integrity of the road?
Before the warranty's over, definitely. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Gapshis.
Oh, you're welcome.
Any additional discussion?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Boyke?
the work that was performed on Bunnard, was that the construction company's fault at what happened there?
Yes.
It was.
He did, it was, but he also paid for the repairs, for the fix.
Okay. And to follow up, have they been awarded any other contracts or in the city after that?
Yeah, we have one right here in the consent agenda for Common, DeQuinder to Warner.
Okay, do we take past work performance into the bidding account? Even though they might be the lower bid?
Yeah, absolutely. Zuniga's done very well. There was Miller Road that he did, Regency. He also did Chicago Road west of Van Dyke, which was mentioned in the email. That was Zuniga that did that road. So, and he took onus for his mistake on Bunnard and paid for the diamond grinding, which was almost $200,000
Okay.
out of his pocket. We took it off the contract.
Is there an issue with the sewers being lower in the pavement, that when you ride over it, the sewer caps?
Yeah, I did read that in the email as well. So after the diamond grinding operation was done, the sewer rims were adjusted to the new pavement height. They were all adjusted.
So if I drive down there tomorrow, they should be fairly level?
They're all, yes.
Okay.
There's always, might be a little slight, I mean, you can't get it exact, but they should be fairly level.
It won't wake me up, in other words,
No.
if I hit one of them. Okay, well, thank you.
Any other discussion?
Thank you,
Hearing-
Ms. Gapshis.
No, you're
Hearing and
welcome.
seeing none, I will call the question. Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Ms. Moore? Yes. Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Boyke?
Yes.
Mr. Noonan?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Rogan C. is a yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is audience participation regarding general topics.
Members of the audience who would like to speak, there are forms to the right side of the stage. You have 3 minutes. I do not have my timer here today, so I will count you down when you are at a minute. First up is Lori Harris. After Lori Harris is Teresa Dozier.
All right, so I listened to your discussions about Tom Bomarito, and I would say that in the last, great number of years, at least a decade, where he's been working in the city, It seems like we're just overflowing with dollar stores, car washes, storage units, and gas stations. And we haven't seen any significant, well, maybe that 9 Mile in Mound project. But I think in terms of what the residents actually see and what actually feels like it benefits the residents, it's not the big complex down at 9 and Mound. It's what we see in our neighborhoods and in our streets and in our community. I almost think it's laughable that he could come in all seriousness to spend $10 million from the city so that De La Salle could have this football stadium here at the community center. And the way that he did treat the residents was not professional. And when you look up some of the, thank you for denying it. I just feel like where are we going with this then? And in that department, by denying it, what does that mean for that department? Who will be running that department at this point? Maybe I don't understand, but I think that I think that we need better. We need better. We need more, and we have a lot of money that's wasted by. Okay, we're going to have an evaluation or have someone look at this and give us an idea, and then another year later you go back and you get the company to go back and reevaluate. For example, the ADA stuff through the DDA. That's wasting money. The same with the library, wasting money. We're so slow to get things done. So I'm very disappointed. I really am. And I want things to be better for my city. I can't move. I can't afford to move. And the people that are buying small houses and still having a $7,000 tax payment, those people aren't going to stick around when we don't have anything really here except car washes, gas stations,
You're out of
and
time.
storage units.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Next is Joel Vanderlinden. Oh, sorry, Teresa Dozier. Thank you, Mary. Then Joel Vanderlinden.
My name's Teresa Dozier, and I live on Woodrow Wilson. And on the 21st of March, I decided to go for a walk. I live two houses. I live the second house from the corner on Woodrow Wilson, and I was going east. 2 streets over on Ada. I was walking fine and didn't notice that the tree had uprooted the sidewalk, and the sidewalk was raised. Consequently, my foot went into that raised sidewalk, and my face ate the sidewalk. And I couldn't get up. And thankfully there was a man there. I'd still like to know who he was. Him and his little children, they come running because I'm saying, help, I can't get up. He told me to sit still. The firemen come, they rescued me. I didn't want to go to the hospital because I take Eliquis, which is a blood thinner. They said it would be a good idea. Thank God, and I thank the Lord that my bones were strong, and I have a picture of my face, and it was 3 days later I was still trying to get blood out of my nose. Well, I called the mayor.
1 minute.
I called the mayor, no results. I went to City Hall, no results. But I did get a call from a man from the city saying, we're gonna take care of that tree and that cement. Nothing has been done, nothing. And I'm quite used to getting a call from Aisha, which is Mayor Stone's secretary or whatever, I don't know, but she's a nice young lady. That needs to be taken care of. And there is a street, which is called Morrissey, that has this much of a hole that has tried to be repaired several times. It just gets worse. People come on the wrong side of the road.
You're at time.
Well, I heard 5 minutes, 10 minutes up here with that. I'm saying I'm legitimate. I don't want to sue the city. I got $250 bills here from my insurance company.
So, ma'am, we have time for audience, up to 3 minutes. If you have a seat, once we're finished, someone is certainly.
I've been here since 6 o'clock. No, I will see a lawyer. I will see a lawyer, and it will cost the city more than hearing me talk.
We are listening to you, and we're almost done with the meeting. I would suggest just having a seat. Next is Joel Vanderlinden.
Joel Vanlin, longtime Warren resident. I think it's funny that we finally realized that the job that Tom was doing is a two-man job. And being overworked like he has is gonna get slow or low development because he's working too hard, too often, and spread too thinly. The blame on that is not Tom. The blame in that is the mayor. I don't hear none of you calling her down. She was here. Of course, only the socialists are allowed to talk to the mayor or call her down. The other people are chastised and stuff. I see a great problem with how this city is running and going. I see a great problem in the south end, and that was brought up. I wasn't here for the stuff on the library, but did anybody bring up about what the mayor's appointee had to say about the south end? Her comments, which were inappropriate and wrong. She doesn't see nothing down there. She doesn't like the location. We have some problems. Now we got rid of Tom, who are we gonna put in his place? Who's qualified? Where's his money gonna come from? I agreed something had to be done, but what needs to be done is Stone needs to be recalled and removed. Now, as Ms. Gassius was here and you guys were asking her questions about the cement.
One minute.
I'm sorry?
1 minute.
The one thing that was not brought up is who is doing the check on the cement when it's dried, the quality control. It's been a long-running thing with this city that the quality control is done by the same company that pours the cement. So what are you gonna get out of that quality control? You're gonna get, oh yeah, it's the greatest thing ever we made. That's all you're gonna get. And Zanika has done so many bad jobs, they should never be considered. They should be barred. Thank you. Have a blessed day.
Thank you.
God bless America.
Thank you, Mr. Van der Linden.
Land that I love.
Next is Melissa Melkonen. Melon Khan? I'm not pronouncing it correctly. Can you say your last name for me?
Good evening. My name is Melissa Melanson. Good French name from South Louisiana.
Yeah, I was going to say it. I got that very wrong. Go ahead. You have 3 minutes. Yeah, I know.
First, Mr. Rafferty, I would like to let you know that we're not using the atrium Saturday. We were notified approximately a month ago that we did not have it, that there was a moratorium, and it just overlooked. We did not pick it up on our website. So we are not using the atrium. What I would like to do is offer my number to the entire city council, as I'm the vice president of Warren City Pride, for you guys to reach out to me, talk to me. I'm happy to speak to any one of you at any given time. Warren City Pride is a 501c3 nonprofit, and we are 100% self-funded. We have paid for use of Warren City property, and we have no favors from the city council nor from the mayor's office. There is nothing founded or funded by the city of Warren, and we are complying with all that the city requires. Our event is also family friendly. I am also proud to stand and defend and represent all the depraved souls who was spoke about earlier and defend them. We have spent $11,000 on our Pride event that we have either raised or out of our own pocket. I invite everyone, city council, the entire city, to come to our event Saturday. It's from 12 to 6. Please come. I want you to walk around and see it. Please. While last year was sponsored by the Cultural Commission, this year's event is entirely grassroots organized. We would appreciate all the support that our city could give us, and not with just token words. As a transgendered woman living here in this city, I see the hate all the way around us. I see what's happening to us.
1 minute.
Thank you. And how we're being marginalized. I, and along with all of my brothers and sisters, was erased on day one. I'm living freely here in Warren. I do not need to live in hate in our city. All we want to do is just love and support for everyone. Warren, a safe city for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Toby Hopkins. And after Toby is Marla Moses.
Good evening. How are y'all doing? You doing all right? Well, I've been here, this is probably the half-dozenth time in the last couple of years. A year ago, June, I was supposed to get information in regards to property information in regards to 2128 Michael Avenue. This property has been a real nuisance to my neighborhood, to my personal being. This property has many rodents. This property has many issues. These issues have been skirted and ignored for up to 10 years. Why have I been ignored? Why have things not gone the way they said they were going to be gone through? It's not happening. It isn't. I just want the truth. I want the truth. When is it going to get done? Is it going to get done? Or am I just going to be BS'd for another year? Oh, we're working on it. Oh, we're working on this. Oh, that. No, I'm done with it. When am I going to get an answer to the problem that I've had in my neighborhood for the last decade in regards to this individual that is in a house that is unoccupable, that has rats Oh, a couple of months ago, I was on the phone on my front porch, having a smoke, talking to my friend Marla, and I notice, oh, there's one. Oh, there. Okay, there's Dad. Okay, there's Mom. And all of a sudden, 8 more came out. Raccoons, out of the house. Rats, out of the house. Birds. Nothing has been done. Why have I been ignored? Why?
You have 1 minute.
I've been ignored by the city council. I've been ignored by the prosecutor. I've been ignored by everybody. Oh, we'll take care of it. It's in the process. And yet I hear earlier in the evening, oh, you got this one. Oh, that one's going to get knocked down. That one's going to get knocked down. That'll be sold for $1. That'll be sold for $7,500. What about me? Why am I being ignored? It's not right. I pay taxes. I paid taxes in this city for over 23 years. My hostas are looking beautiful in my front yard. Oh, and I got approval from the city that I can put up a fence. It's going to take a little money, but I'll put up the fence so I can at least block the neighbor's house and any other rodents that want to come into my house or in my yard.
You're at time.
Yeah, I am out of time.
You're at time. Thank you. Next is Marla Moses. Unfortunately, we don't do that.
I don't want any more time.
Hello there. I used to live on Michael Avenue and moved out because of the rodent problem in this house. This house has been condemned several times. They have promised to tear it down. Nothing is ever done. Now, I have an opportunity to buy a house on that street, and I will not until this problem is taken care of. I cannot have rodents running around my yard because of this. Now, when is it going to be torn down? They've been promising us for the last 6 years. I don't know what's happening. I know the guy that owns it owns thousands of tax dollars to the city that he hasn't paid. 4 years ago, they had to fill in a pool that he had back there at the city's expense. How much more do we have to take? The people on Michael are sick of it. Like I said, I cannot move back there because of this situation. Please, look into it, do something. The previous administration was working on it. Then they passed the ball to you guys, and you guys dropped it. You know, get a move on. Get your crap together, guys.
Thank you. Next is Jerry Bell.
Jerry Bell, good evening, everyone. I'll be seeing you all on Saturday at the Pride Festival. Also, Mr. Howard, I'll be attending the Juneteenth event. I want to talk a little bit about the treatment that the mayor has been getting from some of you council members. In the beginning, when you all were elected, you all were harping on the appointments being made. I think you even gathered up a few folks who figured out that it was time for her to make some appointments, and that is what she's doing. But what we're seeing now as residents is resistance. She had the fire commissioner, the fire chief here last council meeting, and Ms. Moore, you pretty much ambushed the fire chief. She has tried. She has made her appointment. She's sitting in the audience right now. You may not see her on TV, but she's sitting in the audience, and she's doing what she's supposed to do. Now, I've had my issues with the mayor, just like I have my issues with some of you council members, And one thing I can tell you is that she is trying. So when she's trying, Mindy Moore, don't dog her out. Don't dog her out. You have a tendency, Mindy Moore, of attacking individuals verbally, much like you did me at the last council meeting. But let me tell you something. That meeting that I had with Motor City Sports Bar was well documented with a lot of folks in there. It was well documented. So for you to say that I'm race baiting or creating a problem, no, that wasn't me. That was them who felt that way, and I felt that way too. I didn't have to tell them. I am an activist, and I've been one since I've been here in the city of Warren. I've walked with that mayor right there in the parade. You didn't know that, did you? I stood between the protesters and the police department, and Mr. Dwyer's dad will tell you, they gave me authority to do that, and I did a very good job by keeping those protests peaceful. All the protests that you saw since 2019, I've been behind that. So for you to tell me that I'm a nobody, Mindy Moore, no, you're a nobody. And I still believe you placed that video, you did that video.
You're at time, Mr. Bell.
The video for Motor City Sports Bar. You did that.
Have a good
You're
evening.
evil.
Next is Michael Howard. Go ahead.
Good evening, Council. Michael Howard, 23725 Beerman Avenue. Just wanted to recognize two events. June is Gun Violence Awareness Month, and me, with the participation of Councilmember Henry Noonan and Pete Lucido's office, as well as other organizations, are hosting a gun lot giveaway. We've been doing this across the county. Still to this day, 22 vets commit suicide. Most often is with a gun. That compounded by just violence in our community that's continually growing. So we're giving out gun locks that fit almost every firearm that a regular citizen could have, and participation with that. So just wanted to invite folks out. That is June 28th at the UAW 869. So far we've given out 200, we got out 400 left. Our goal is 600. So that's at 4 to 6 p.m. On June 29th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the UAW 869. And then also on June 21st, we're having a Juneteenth celebration. Just to clarify that the Juneteenth celebration is an extension of the concerts in the summers that the Cultural Commission is put on. And I thank all the council members, because during the budget season that was brought to the council and was talked about that, an extension to provide different types of music, and every single one of you guys supported that. So I thank you in advance for that. Inviting you guys out to that. Part of the reason why it says it's co-sponsored is because we were able to bring in other folks to provide food for free for over 200 people. Recognizes the summer, we also want to provide snow cones for kids, and so another sponsor reached out to me and provided that. So we have food and snow cones for at least 200 people, and with the concerts in the summer, we have different types of music and spoken word, hip hop, jazz, and all of that. And so I just love that one of the things that me and Councilmember Lafferty spoke about shortly after I won my election is how we have a relationship with each other, we have a relationship with those at the state, and so that we can really bring state, local, and county government together to do more initiatives. And so we just felt like the concerts in the summer was a great initiative to do that. Macomb County has always promoted those, and so this is just an aspect for us to continue in government participation. I'll end with thanking Tina Gapshes as well as Dave Mazzarelli. Residents reach out to us for issues that have nothing to do with the county. I've been able to direct them to those two individuals to get their issues resolved very quickly. So I just want to acknowledge their help and participation. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next is Gloria Sanker.
A national event took place on May the 1st, but not in Warren, because we did not observe the National Day of Prayer. The White House did, most communities did, our neighboring city of Centerline did. We used to observe it with Mayor Fouts. It was a gala event. Hundreds of people, music, pastors, ministers, all gathered to worship God and to pray for one another, especially those in high offices who make the important decisions for us every day. At this rally, all faiths were represented. Why didn't we observe it? We are a nation and a city of mostly Christians. The mayor should have observed this day. 1, because it's a national observance, and 2, for Christians in our city and not be guided by her own personal beliefs. Last year, the mayor and this council eagerly celebrated the gay community by giving them a parade and a festival that caused a lot of controversy. Further, the mayor quickly took away the prayer station at City Hall when the atheists complained, even though they had their own anti-Christian booth next to the prayer station. If you watch the government channel, you will see the mayor celebrates everyone's ethnicity. But what about the Christian community? Google says we are 60% Christians, and certainly the largest voting bloc, the Warren seniors, want to celebrate the National Day of Prayer. The people of Warren were not represented as a Christian community as was the past practice. We still sing God Bless America.
1 minute.
We still have God on our money. We still say one nation under God in our pledge. Here in Warren, we praise God and we pray for our nation, who we place under God. It was wrong for the mayor not to observe this holy alliance between God and our country. Thank you.
Thank you. That is the end of audience.
Next item is council response to audience.
Hearing none? Next item.
Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Could I say something about the event for the Juneteenth? I just want to make sure you know the date and time. It's June 21st at the City Hall from 2 to 7 p.m. I just want to make sure everyone, I didn't hear the date. That'll be all.
Thank you. Okay, next item.
Support.
Motion to adjourn.
Dwyer, support. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.